Akeela closed the bedroom door and he shot through the bedroom door, and then he kicked in my bedroom door. That opened up, and he applied about 7 to 8 shots in front of me.
Again, with that deadly shooting at a Covington Walmart, the Newton County Sheriff's Office says an employee there shot and killed one of his coworkers inside the store and injured another in the parking lot.
And then they say he drove about a mile and a half down the road and shot and killed another employee. The gunman, Dwayne Etta, was arrested in
I
South
sat with
Carolina.
my lifeless daughter's body on the floor for nearly 40 minutes. She died in my arms, and the man who killed her, he walked right past me, said nothing, and pulled the trigger. This is not just a crime story. This is the story of Akeela Clarke, a 19-year-old Walmart employee in Covington, Georgia, murdered in her own home by her co-worker. What happened that night? And why did the police arrive so late? Let's get straight into the story. Covington, Georgia, wasn't the kind of place where you expected to hear gunshots at night. It was a town where people knew each other by name, where Walmart was open 24/7, and most of the workers were barely out of high school. Nothing dramatic ever happened until that morning. It was just past 1 a.m. on a Friday. Inside the Walmart on Industrial Boulevard, the overnight crew was halfway through their shift, stocking shelves, folding uniforms, drinking vending machine coffee to stay awake. Among them was 24-year-old Dwayne Edu. He wasn't loud, wasn't known for jokes or conversation, just another guy in a navy blue vest pushing boxes in the back. No one noticed when he walked out of the store, but not long after, he came back, and this time he was holding a gun. What started as a normal work shift became the beginning of a blood trail that would stretch from the store to someone's front door and end with a mother holding her dying daughter on the floor. Inside the store, nothing seemed out of place. The night crew moved through their tasks, quiet, half-tired, waiting for the clock to tick toward sunrise. The building hummed with the low buzz of fluorescent lights. Pallets were being rolled out, boxes cut open. It was just another slow shift. Khalif Barksdale was one of those workers, 21 years old, from Conyers, always joking, always moving a little too fast. People said he was one of the good ones, kind, hard-working, sharp. He had dreams, too. Everyone did, in their own way. A few aisles down was Ryan Bradley. He was 29, quieter, more reserved. He'd been with Walmart longer than most. People respected him because he got the job done, didn't complain, didn't gossip. No one saw it coming. At 1:45 a.m., Dwayne came back through those sliding glass doors. His face didn't say anything. No panic, no shouting, no warning. In his hands, a gun, loaded, ready. He didn't look around. He didn't hesitate. He walked straight toward Khalif. And then, pop. One shot, right there in the aisle. No one even had time to process it. Khalif dropped instantly. There was no chance to run, no scream, just the sound of a body hitting the floor and a terrible silence that followed. Seconds later, Ryan became the second target. Dwayne turned without a word and shot again. Ryan collapsed where he stood, bleeding, gasping, still alive, but barely. The other workers scattered. Some hid, some froze, some ran for the exit. It didn't matter, the damage was already done. 2 men had been shot in a place that was supposed to be safe, a place they went every day to earn their living. There was no argument before, no shouting match, no visible tension, only rage, quiet, cold, and planned, and Dwayne wasn't finished. Yet without saying a word to anyone, he turned back around and walked out the way he came, but he wasn't going home. He had one more stop to make. After the shooting at Walmart, Dwayne didn't disappear into the night. He didn't toss the gun or call for help. He got into his car and drove. Not far. Just a little over 2 miles. Just enough time to let the silence settle before the next storm. He knew exactly where he was going. On Emerson Trail, inside a modest home, 19-year-old Akeela Clarke was still awake. Maybe she had just gotten back from her shift. Maybe she was getting ready for bed. The details don't matter anymore. What matters is this: she knew something was wrong. She ran into her mother's room in a panic. Her voice was loud, scared, not like her usual self. "Call the police," she said. "He's coming." Her mother, Samantha Clarke, didn't have time to ask who. She barely reached for her phone before the sound came, a violent cracking noise that shook the house. Dwayne kicked the front door in, broke it off the hinges. The wood split, the metal lock bent, and the sound echoed through the hallway. He didn't speak, not a word. He didn't glance around. He didn't hesitate. He walked right past Samantha, straight down the hall, and into Akeela's bedroom. 7 or 8 shots, one after the other. Loud, final. Samantha screamed, ran toward her daughter. But the damage had already been done. Akeela's body hit the ground. She was bleeding, not moving, just gone. And Dwayne? He turned around and walked out the same door he had just destroyed, still silent, still calm, like he had finished what he came to do. Inside that house, a mother dropped to her knees. She held her daughter's body, cradled it like she had when she was small, called out her name, begged her to breathe. Rocked back and forth on that cold floor, surrounded by blood and disbelief, and then she waited. For almost 40 minutes, Samantha sat there, in the middle of the hallway, with her daughter's blood on her hands. The police didn't arrive in time. Not for Akeela, not for a mother who had just watched her child die right in front of her. A safe home had turned into a war zone. And for the second time that night, Covington lost its silence.
He closed the bedroom door, and he shot through the bedroom door, and then he kicked in my bedroom door. That opened up, and he applied about 7 to 8 shots in front of me.
But this wasn't the beginning of his rampage. Before coming after Akeela, Dwayne...
Samantha didn't know how long she had been sitting on the floor. Time had stopped the moment the last shot echoed through the house. All she could feel was the weight of her daughter in her lap. Warm at first, then slowly, terrifyingly still. Akeela wasn't responding. Her chest didn't rise. Her fingers didn't twitch. Her eyes were open, but they didn't see anything anymore. Samantha held her, whispered to her, rocked back and forth, begging the minutes to move faster. She had called 911. Her hands were shaking when she did. She told them someone had come into her home, that her daughter had been shot, that the shooter was gone, that her baby needed help. But no one came. Not yet. Not for a long time. She looked at the clock, then at her daughter. Then at the door. Still nothing. Nearly 40 minutes passed, and Samantha was still on the floor, still holding the body of the child she once raised, fed, danced with, and laughed with just days ago. The police arrived too late. The paramedics arrived. Too late. Everyone came, after the life was already gone. The house smelled like fear and blood. The walls still echoed with the sound of gunfire. And the woman who had just seen her daughter's final breath? She wasn't screaming anymore. She was quiet, empty, crushed. And the town, this small, quiet town that never made the news, suddenly had questions it couldn't answer. How did a man leave his job, kill 2 people, and then drive straight to a young woman's house, and still have time to murder her without being stopped? How did someone with a gun walk into a Walmart, shoot people, and no alert go out? No lockdown, no warning to employees, no patrols at nearby homes. Covington was just a mile wide in any direction. The Walmart and Akeela's home were only 5 minutes apart, and yet No one got there in time to save her. People started to ask whether the system had failed, but Samantha already knew the answer. She had been holding it in her arms for nearly an hour after the third shot, after the scream, after the blood. Dwayne walked out of Akeela's home and vanished into the night. He didn't run. He drove out of Covington, past the neighborhood still asleep, past the police who hadn't yet arrived, onto Interstate 20, heading east, crossing county lines like they didn't exist, like he could outrun what he had done. He was alone in the car, just him, his weapon, and whatever darkness had led him to this point. He didn't turn himself in. He didn't make a confession. He didn't check to see if Akeela was still breathing. He just kept driving. By the time police realized where he might be, he had already crossed into South Carolina. The deputies began tracking his phone. They called, tried to keep him talking, tried to buy time. Somehow, he answered. They asked him to pull over. They told him to stay on the line. They were still trying to stop the story from ending in another death. But Dwayne had other plans. On the side of a road in South Carolina, far from the town he left in shock, he tried to end his own life. Pulled the trigger again. This time, on himself. But it didn't work. The bullet didn't finish what he had started. He survived, just barely. When officers finally reached him, he was still breathing, covered in blood, but not gone. They rushed him to a hospital in Augusta, Georgia, where he lay in critical condition. His body was broken, his mind still a mystery. Back in Newton County, word began to spread. The shooter had been caught, the one who ended 3 lives in a single night. 2 dead, 1 fighting to survive in a hospital bed, and 1, the girl he seemed to target most, was already buried in silence. The town exhaled, but no one felt relief. Dwayne Edu was in custody. He would face charges. But for the families of Khalif Barksdale, Ryan Bradley, and Akeela Clarke, justice was just a word. And grief was still sitting in their homes, refusing to leave before the headlines, before the sirens, before the bullets. She was just Akeela, 19 years old, full of spirit. The kind of girl who turned a quiet room into laughter without trying. She loved music, dancing, joking around with her family. Her smile came easily, her laugh was loud and pure, and her energy made you feel like nothing could ever go too wrong, not while she was there. She had a big family, and she stayed close to all of them. Nieces, nephews, cousins, her mom, her sister. If there was a birthday, she was helping with balloons. If someone was down, she'd show up with jokes. Her love wasn't loud, it was consistent. She just showed up. Every time. Akeela had recently graduated high school, walked the stage in her cap and gown, wore her prom dress with pride, took the kind of selfies every teenager takes, trying on new hair, new poses, always laughing at herself. She didn't pretend to be anything she wasn't. She was real. That was her charm. After graduation, she started working at Walmart. Not forever, just for now. Just to earn some money and help out at home while she figured things out. She never missed a shift, not even on rainy days, not even when she was tired, and everyone there noticed. People liked her because she was light-hearted, but serious when it mattered. She didn't play with people's time. She showed up, smiling, every time. But under all that brightness, Akeela had been carrying pain. Not long before her own life was taken, she lost her baby sister, a girl she loved deeply, the one she grew up with, shared secrets with, slept beside. The loss shook her, broke something inside her. She started posting about it, photos, poems, memories, long captions filled with grief and love. One post read, "Long live the realist on my team, my pretty girl. It's been 3 months without you. I still sleep with your picture beside me, still hear your laugh. I can write a book about you." But even in mourning, Akeela kept going. She didn't let the sadness stop her. She got up every morning, put on her Walmart vest, helped her mom at home, posted TikToks that made people smile, stayed strong even when it hurt. She held it together, not because it was easy, but because she didn't want anyone around her to fall apart. That was the kind of person she was. The world didn't lose a name in a news story. It lost a light, a girl who danced in kitchens, who held babies on her hip, who gave more than she ever asked for, and all of that was gone in seconds. After the sirens faded and the crime scene tape went up, people started asking questions, not just about what happened, but why. Why Akeela? Why her home? Why so specific, so brutal, so final? The story spread quickly, too quickly, and with it came the rumors. Some said Dwayne had been obsessed with her, that maybe he liked her more than she liked him, that maybe she had turned him down, quietly, politely, or maybe not at all. Others whispered about a love triangle, 3 co-workers entangled in something personal that went horribly wrong. No one had proof, but the silence left room for speculation. All that police could confirm was that Dwayne, Akeela, Khalif, and Ryan all worked at Walmart, all were employees, all were acquaintances. That was the official word, acquaintances. Not friends, not enemies. Nothing romantic confirmed, but then came the harder truth, the one no press conference could wash away. Dwayne didn't kick in just any door. He went to Akeela's house. He didn't shout, didn't wave the gun around, didn't threaten the family. He walked past her mother, past her sister. He only looked for her, and when he found her, he opened fire. Nothing else. No questions. No hesitation. That kind of rage doesn't come from nowhere. That kind of certainty doesn't look accidental. He could have run after the Walmart shootings. He could have gone anywhere, but he went to her, and that's what shook people the most. The coldness, the control, the fact that he knew exactly where to go and exactly who to shoot, as if he had been planning this for a while. No one could say for sure if it was love, rejection, obsession, or something darker. But what was clear, painfully clear, was that this wasn't random. He didn't choose her house by chance. He didn't shoot Akeela by mistake. He knew what he came for, and he made sure no one else got in his way. The shooting stopped. The blood dried. The sirens came late, but the questions, they came fast. Everyone wanted to know how it had happened, how a man walked into a Walmart with a gun, how he shot 2 employees and still had time to drive to a second location and kill again. How law enforcement, store management, and emergency services all missed the chance to stop a murder that was so clearly in motion. The distance between the Walmart and Akeela's home was just over 1 mile. 5 minutes by car, 8 by foot, and yet it took nearly 30 minutes for officers to arrive at the scene after Akeela's mother called for help. 30 minutes in a house filled with screams and gunpowder. 30 minutes with a 19-year-old bleeding out on her bedroom floor. Her mother had held her for most of that time, not knowing if she was alive or already gone, praying for lights, for sirens, for someone to show up and take over before it was too late. But no one did, not fast enough. Her aunt, her cousins, her community, they all said the same thing. She could have been saved. Then there was the Walmart, the place where it all began. Why was there no immediate lockdown after the first shot rang out? Why were there no alerts sent to other nearby employees, including Akeela? Why was it even possible for a worker to leave the building, retrieve a gun, and walk back in without anyone noticing? The company stayed quiet. The police said they were still investigating, but the family didn't need an investigation to know what was lost. They had seen it, felt it, held it in their arms. Samantha Clarke, a mother who had done everything right, raised her daughter, supported her, protected her, was left sitting in a hallway with her child's body, waiting for help that never came in time. She didn't just lose her daughter. She lost faith
County
in the system
deputies
that was supposed
responded
to
the Walmart here behind us in reference to a person shot. When they entered inside, they located 2 gentlemen with gunshot wounds. The one gentleman was deceased. One was in critical condition. And then another call came in of another person shot over on Emerson Trail. What the investigation revealed was that Mr. Uda, which is going to be the shooter, was inside the store. All three of them are employees. Mr. Uda left the store, retrieved a handgun, re-entered the store, located a Mr. Khalif Barksdale, age 21 of Covington, and shot that gentleman. He then went up a couple more aisles. He located Ryan Bradley, age 29 of Covington, and shot that gentleman. Mr. Uda then left, went to a house on Emerson Trail, forced entry into the house, located a female whose name is Akeela Clarke, age 19, and shot her. From what we can understand is all four of them were employees here at Walmart. All four of them are acquaintances. Mr. Uda then left the scene, went I-20 eastbound towards Aiken, South Carolina, where he pulled over onto the side of the road. Newton County deputies happened to locate a phone number for him and was talking to him on the phone.
The candles came first, then the flowers, then the balloons. People gathered outside the house on Emerson Trail, standing shoulder to shoulder in silence. Some held photos, others held each other. They didn't know what to say, because nothing could make sense of what had happened. A table was set up on the sidewalk with a photo of Akeela smiling, her eyes bright, her head tilted just a little, like she always laughed after taking pictures. Around it, people laid teddy bears, notes, candles that melted slowly in the Georgia heat. Someone read a prayer. A few people whispered her name, and then they let go of the balloons, pink, white, gold, floating up into a sky that felt too quiet for a night like this. A GoFundMe page went up hours after the shooting, not for anything extravagant, just to help bury a daughter whose life was taken without warning. The donations trickled in, some from strangers, some from classmates, co-workers, family, friends. Every dollar came with a message. She didn't deserve this. Praying for your strength. Rest in peace, baby girl. But no amount of money could fix the hole in that house, or in Samantha's chest. She couldn't bring herself to go back into Akeela's room. The clothes were still folded on the dresser, her charger still plugged into the wall, her hair bonnet resting on the pillow. It all looked like she'd be back in 5 minutes, but she never would. Aunt Natalia tried to be strong for the others, but her voice cracked every time she said Akeela's name. She was the sun in our family, she whispered once. Everything felt warmer when she walked into the room. The Walmart where it all started stayed closed for days, yellow tape across the doors, no carts being pushed, no intercom music playing above the aisles. But while the store would reopen eventually, the Clarke family's life wouldn't. Their home was no longer a home. It was a grave without a headstone, a hallway filled with echoes, a silence that screamed. In the middle of the night, people said justice would come, that the courts would handle it, that someone would answer for what was done. But for this family, there was only one truth that mattered now. Their daughter was gone, and no courtroom, no sentence, no public apology could ever make it right. The house on Emerson Trail is quiet now. No laughter, no music, no sound of feet running across the floor or a voice calling from the kitchen. Just quiet, the kind that presses against your chest. But sometimes, if you knew her, you can still hear her, Akeela's laugh. That high, playful, rising sound that came when she told a joke no one else thought was funny. The way she used to tease her nieces. The way she danced, without music. The way her joy filled a room before she even stepped through the door. That's what her family remembers, not the crime, not the blood, not the silence after the gunshots. They remember the love she gave without asking for anything back, the way she lit up when talking about her sister, the way she always said, "I got you," even when she didn't have much herself. The way she never let her pain show, even when it sat heavy behind her smile. She was more than the news headlines, more than a victim, more than the number 19, more than a job title, more than a body on a floor. She was light, she was laughter, she was life, and her name deserves to live in memory, not for how her life was taken, but for how much of it she gave to others while she was still here. No parent should ever have to hold their child's body in their arms, waiting for help that never came in time. No coworker should ever be the reason you're afraid to show up for work. But it happened, and now all that's left are balloons tied to a fence, a room that hasn't been touched, and a community learning how to carry grief without falling apart. Rest in peace, Akeela. You were loved, you still are, and your voice somehow will still be heard.